I would have to sit here and go online and look at over the 24 years, all the teammates I had to send out thank you notes, because they're the reasons why, this kid that was just okay, the third best pitcher on his high school team, ended up doing really, really well and playing a game that he loved for 24 years.
Hi, I'm Patty Smith with the Harris County Houston Sports Authority, and welcome to Queued Up. The Q, of course, for quarantine. And if you were with us last week, you saw an amazing conversation with Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell, and we had more than 50,000 viewers on our Facebook Watch Party page. It was really a great start, and we want to continue, and we kind of like to think we're doing our part in providing some much needed content, sports content to be exact, in these unprecedented times. And if you're watching us here on the Sports Authority Facebook page, be sure to like us or subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. That ensures that you'll get updates and alerts to our next upcoming episodes, as well as gives you the opportunity to win some great prizes, including tickets to the Houston Sports Awards. All right. Up next on tonight's show, he was a 7-time Cy Young Award winner, an 11-time All-Star, an American League MVP. He spent 24 seasons with 4 different ball clubs, including the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and yes, your Houston Astros. He grew up right here in Houston. He, of course, is the Rocket, and Roger Clemens is queued up. All right, Roger Clemens coming to you directly from his house. And boy, you look like you're in a fancy schmancy office there.
I am in my office, actually. It's nice to be in here and quiet for a little bit.
So obviously we are all queued up here, quarantined. We're staying at home. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how this has sort of affected you, your family, and just your everyday life.
Well, it's been crazy. We've been trying to basically watch the news and every one of the President Trump's addresses every evening, and they run an hour to a couple hours, and listen to when they push the doctors and everybody in front of the screen on what we should do, what we shouldn't do. I thought Easter might be a little soon for everything to get back going, but I just feel for, I obviously played in New York, and to see the numbers coming out of New York City, how hard it was hit, and then to see it continue to climb and spread. Obviously yesterday, the big news was everybody trying to come this way, or what was going on in Louisiana, our next door neighbor state over there. And so, I mean, it's incredible to me. And so we're trying to hit the grocery store when we need to, just do everything we possibly can. So far the family and the grandbabies have been good. But we have had 2 people that are close to us. One of them's got it that we know, and the other person, it's a female that passed away with it, and she wasn't that old. So when they really start creeping in, I mean, like I said, and I've heard people kind of compare it to 9/11. I was supposed to pitch the night of 9/11. I was a New York Yankee. And so when you start having people that that have passed away in those events, it really makes you stand up and want to do more. So that's what's going on now. The last couple of days, been talking to different people, Patty, about helping out, doing some meals, kind of like we do around Thanksgiving. But there's some more that there's another company. I just got an email today that I'll probably try and help out the best I can. And I think actually they're setting up a station down by Minute Maid Park, so we can feed some of the first responders and people like that, like we've done in the past. So, you get in a position where you think you're in a pretty good spot with your family and everybody's safe and your friends are safe and you're doing good and you're not going to the grocery store unless you have to and do all the things they're telling you to do. But then there's a time where I hope in the next 10 days where we can get over that curve and then get out there and try and start helping out a little bit more.
So you mentioned being up in New York during 9/11. Do you, I mean, what kind of similarities are, I mean, I can only look, we all lived that, but not being in the city like that. And as they're kind of going through this again, I mean, is there sort of that same, do you see a lot of surreal kind of comparisons, even the way you see Cuomo now doing what, the mayor did at that time? And just, I've noticed a lot of similarities.
Yeah, Giuliani was, I mean, he was a hero for us. He got out there and got in front of everything, and very visible, and just knocked it out of the ballpark for us. It wasn't as long because I was supposed to pitch that night when on 9/11 against my former team, the Red Sox, and I was going for my 20th win, I think. So it was a big night in New York City, and we found out what happened. And then, all hell broke loose. Our world changed as we know it. But I don't remember the downtime. Obviously, it wasn't near as long as this. But I remember it being the same atmosphere for the 2 days following in New York City. The streets were empty, which you're talking about a city that, just like I said, never sleeps. There's people everywhere all the time. It's in motion, whether it's 9 a.m. or it's 2 a.m. Times Square, the whole town's rocking and rolling. So that was interesting. We got the phone call, I don't know how many days later, to get on a plane and I think we went to, I started the game in Chicago against the White Sox. And being in a tough visiting player as a Yankee, being in that town, everybody was, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. So just, it kind of feels like that. I mean, I've been on the road a few times, got out on my bicycle, just trying to, get exercise and doing our stuff. And it's just weird. Other than it looks like you're back in Mayberry or somewhere, because everybody's out walking and riding bikes, especially on the weekends. So you see that, and people are waving, and you're seeing a lot of compassion from, I think, people that maybe you wouldn't necessarily see, another time. So I see that, but it's just weird sometimes at night, or it's definitely over here in the Memorial area where we're at. It's just quiet. There's nothing new, especially at night. You're not hearing a lot of planes. A few of the places that we're able to get outdoor and work out, where normally planes are coming in and out of Hobby or Intercontinental, you're just not seeing the air traffic either, or hearing it.
Yeah, and back in when you mentioned 9/11, sports was really, you going to Chicago, sports was something that sort of really helped bring everybody back together. It was that distraction, and those were all emotional times when people were able to go back to those stadiums. And right now, to your point, the time span is so much larger. Sports will probably be one of the last things to come back at this point, and there's just such a void. People are craving sports, which is why we're doing this show here, to kind of help fill some content. But you and I were talking earlier, and I know you stay in touch with people at the league. Just your thoughts on how baseball specifically sort of comes back from this. What are the next steps, and how is this affecting the players at this time and their return?
Yeah, I still have a handful of guys coming to the house to throw or hit in the indoor or outdoor cage, and I get to visit with them a little bit. Some of them are minor league guys, some of them are college guys that now I get I try and ask them questions when they're done with their workout about, what that felt like just to get the entire season shut down, and the College World Series shut down really before we knew just how bad this was gonna be on everybody. And then these guys that are here are draft eligible. So I've been trying to go through the draft of where it's only going to be for the college guys. Say it's only going to be 10 rounds, and they're hoping to go in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. And if they don't, they were granted another year of eligibility to go back to strengthen their position. And even if they're graduating, they said they have to take some advanced classes at the university. A couple of them thought that they might exit the 4-year school and go to a junior college. So there was all kinds of things that they're trying to process and ask questions. The pro guys that are coming over and throwing, they're trying to stay ready. My talk to them, especially the relievers, I think that once this does get back to some, a little bit being normal, I think the relievers are going to be the biggest thing on everybody's squad. I think you're going to have to really watch your health, because it just depends if, what we've been talking about is you're going to need to reset and have 21 days in Florida or Arizona. And that's what it's going to take a starter. He's going to have to go out and throw at least 3 times, maybe 5 innings, hopefully they're still doing something. I mean, this is their livelihood. This is the way they're going to make their living with everything shut down and all the other jobs shut down. But yeah, I think that, we've heard suggestions that you go to Florida for 21 days, crank it up against possibly teams that are in your division. Maybe play 4 or 5 game sets down there. You're not going to play in front of fans. I still think it's going to be a long time before everybody's comfortable to go to a stadium and go into a stadium where instead of having 50,000 people, you might have 10,000 and people are sitting apart. I mean, it's just going to be – I think you're going to have to see some people get out there that are visible people, maybe like myself, other guys, to get out there and really try and recharge the fans and the base to feel comfortable about going out, especially, like I said, if in fact within the next month there's a vaccine that these amazing doctors can come up with, like the flu shot. I think that'll make everybody a little more comfortable because, as you know, we could have it, how athletic we are or how in good shape that we feel like we are. We could have it and not even know it. The symptoms don't show the same in each individual. So that's another little unknown, scary type thing for me, trying to pay attention to that. But again, sports in general, you got football around the corner. I was actually supposed to be in Vegas and do a thing for the NFL for the draft, and that got shut down. My calendar just, I do about, I think we've talked before, I do about 40, 45 events a year, charity events, appearances, the American Century, the Lake Tahoe event, the golf event that we can win some money for our foundations and things like that. They've all been postponed or pushed back. Baseball, just today I heard 2 younger boys in the minor leagues for the Blue Jays and the Tigers, and they will give me updates daily on what they're hearing. And now they're talking about maybe instead of, like I just stated earlier, Arizona, Florida, that they may go to these places to get ready, and then all 30 teams go to Arizona to try and play games of some nature.
So your audio cut out a little bit there, Roger, and I think you had mentioned that you're talking about the Tigers and the Blue Jays. So I'm assuming you're talking about Cody and Casey. Cody, of course, in the Tigers organization, Casey in the Blue Jays organization. I know you were down in spring training, didn't get a chance to get to Astros camp, but I know you spent some time down there with these guys. Tell us a little bit about kind of where they are and where you are from a Clemens family as it stands in baseball.
Yeah, so they got an opportunity to go down to spring early. And so they were able to get a lot of work in, and they actually got more than a handful of bats in big league games, which is really great experience to be able to hit off big arms. So that was fun for them. Anytime I'm in the area, even if it's not a team that I played for, the 4 teams that I played for over my 24 years, if the coaches or one of the minor league coordinators or the general manager asked me to come in and talk to the coaches, I go in and visit with them, not giving away too many trade secrets unless one of the kids ask, a question that's really good that pertaining to pitching or what he needs to do. So that's always fun. I got to see the new Blue Jays complex. They dropped a lot of money into their minor league complex. It's fantastic. And then I was down there for the Valspar. I was supposed to do a couple appearances for the PGA. So we were down there, and then the boys said that when all their other buddies came down for minor league ball, they basically had 1 day of physicals and then a half a day of workout, and then everything broke loose. And then the teams were talking about keeping them there. And then within 3 days, they knew that wasn't going to be the right thing to do. So they started making arrangements to fly and let the kids drive home. There's still guys down there in Florida that live in Florida, that live close to the complex, but they shut those down. So the boys are, trying to find different means to try and stay in shape. Because I told them every really week, and this holds true for the big league guys, every week that you're idle and you're not doing something, 7 days, you're losing 2 weeks of yourself to be ready. And so fortunately, we got a couple cages, an indoor and outdoor facility here. Like I said, some of the guys come down here and work. And I think I found a field. We're going to be up towards the lake house probably a few times, and there's a field up there where we can get outdoors if those guys want to hit. And there's a lot of guys from Texas, the university that got shut down, the players, they're in the area. So I try and tell Cody and Casey to spread it out so you don't have a bunch of kids here at one time. I don't want to, again, I want to keep it 2 to 3 guys max so they can keep their distance and get in and out of the cage where they feel comfortable. And so you're just trying to, be aware of everything that's going on. It's just absolutely weird and sad when you hear the cases of some, not just the older people that, I was seeing video like anybody else of the beaches in Florida still being packed with the young kids thinking that they were invincible. And now that they've heard that, like they said, you guys, there could be 20 people around you in that age group that have it and don't know it. So, that's dangerous also.
So how cool is it, or, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're, now after you spent 24 years in the league, like you said, now you got 2 sons that are playing, you are being able to kind of pass on your wisdom, your knowledge, all that you've learned to them, and to now kind of relive it again for the second time around with your kids.
Yeah, Patty, thank God for ice, because that's all. They don't want my knowledge. They want my arm, and it's going to come off eventually.
Still have it?
Oh, it's still there, but from 55 feet, about 5 feet short. So, yeah, so they like it because some of the coaches in camp, they get extremely close. I don't know, I'm going to say 30, 35 feet away, and they kind of lob it in there. So to try and get close to 90, I throw from about 55 feet and can crank it up a little bit. But I'm pretty sore. If there's 4 or 5 hitters, I'm throwing 100, 120 pitches to these little nut bags, and my arm is pretty sore after, but I've got an ice tank that I get in and I'll ice it and do the things I need to do. But there's some great questions. The young kids have some great questions. We clean up their mechanics a little bit and give them some really pointed stuff. And through the times before the virus and everything hit, with people talking about stealing pitches and all this stuff, we're working real hard on the mechanic to get them in prayer position, make them repeat. I tell them you have to practice perfect. So when you get in a big game or big situation, you won't go back to your old habits, to where even in our days back in the mid to late 80s, I was trained by 2 of the best. I had my right fielder in Boston was Dwight Evans, a veteran player, and Marty Barrett was our second baseman. And these 2 guys, I'm just fresh off the campus of University of Texas in the big leagues with the Boston Red Sox, and I can hear these 2 at the end of the bench watching pitchers routinely, and by the second or third inning, they know what these guys are throwing just by watching where their gloves and everything is going. So it made me, at an early age, 21 years old, 22 years old, to really be fine-tuned and practice perfect, to where I gathered my hands and everything that I did on the mound to repeat it and make everything look the same. And there's a lot of kids that don't do that.
So, is that just something that's been around and a part of the game forever? What's your take on this whole situation as it's sort of come down this last few months?
Yeah, so that's the way it's you were able to get signs when guys weren't really good on the mound, and when they're like I said, when the pressure hits a guy out on the mound, and the pressure's such that he will do something different. We had guys that would come up and set at their jaw line on fastball, but to get their breaking ball, it would take them longer to get their grip, and they would cover their face or their hat. So we had them, and it had to be when we saw them do that, it had to be all the time. It couldn't be 8 out of 10. A lot of guys wouldn't want that, and there was guys on the team that didn't want to know what was coming. But you could also get the sequence from the catcher. That's why mine always changed, or I called a lot of mine from the mound, because we knew guys on second base were hunting signs all the time too. And if you gave somebody that's a great hitter, that's a 280 hitter, he knows what's coming. He's going to hit 380, obviously. So you'd always change those things up. Obviously, you can't have a live camera from center field having live time and somebody banging on a trash can or something like that. Everybody's going to go crazy on that. So that's just something that you obviously can't do. But I thought the guys handled it well here at home, at best they can. I thought it was great once it settled down a little bit. I still, think that people are going to try and give them grief throughout the year, but they're great players. They just got to go out and play now and show their talent and win right. I think that, that portion of it will go away, but and I think they can win again. Obviously you need Justin to be healthy. I got to watch Lance over here throw the other day. He looked great right before he went down to spring training. So it was great to see Lance throwing to actual hitters. And they're going to call on him heavily now. He's going to have to. He'll be a key player in this once. I think the guys will get going again here in a month or two. So I'm hoping that baseball will be back. But he'll be a big part of it. And then you'll just have to wait and see how healthy Justin is, because you got to have a frontline guy win 20. You got to have another guy go. You got to root for your teammate and another pitcher's mate to go with you 17 games, lose 8, something like that. And then if you get another guy that goes 12-12, you're going to be in the dance. So you'll be in the playoffs that way. So I have 7 Cy Youngs. I think 5 of them are tied to playoffs and World Series wins, or getting into the playoffs. The other ones, when you look at them, I mean, it was great that I won the Cy Young, and it's really cool. And you come home, get a handshake and a pat on the back, and you're watching the playoffs on TV. It's not a lot of fun.
So you threw out 7 Cy Youngs. I mean, whether you're talking about the Cy Youngs or an 11-time All-Star, a couple World Series, an AL MVP, I mean, it goes on and on. What are you most proud of? All those stats, all those accomplishments, what are you most proud of from your baseball career?
Just probably my staying power. I tell people, I think my first couple of years, once I got into professional baseball, I was like, all right, this is really cool. I can make, we didn't come from a lot of money. My dad passed away when I was young. My mom worked 3 jobs. So I watched her work her tail off. When I got my signing bonus, I was able to, pay off her townhome and get her a car and then go to work. And then once I started seeing what was going on, I realized, hey, if I can do this right, I got a chance to make a little money doing this. And then I think it was after I struck out, really that year I struck out 20 and then got going and showed my teammates I was healthy, and we went rolling into the World Series. After that, after I got a taste of the World Series, especially playing at Texas and the winning tradition we had at the university, that I brought that along with me to the professional game. And then it started being about winning championships. And that if I knew that we could win championships and I could hold my end of the deal up, I was gonna make some money in this game. So that was the biggest thing. I think once I realized that I had the opportunity to play professional baseball, and then somebody had the confidence to draft me out of the University of Texas. That was the deal. And then I thought I was going to play to the year, I think it was 2000. Thought I was going to shut it down with the Red Sox. I was only going to play 4 more years. I told the assistant general manager, who always ran with me in Boston around the river there. We had a 3, a 4, and a 5-mile track that in between starts I would run, and he would do his work upstairs in the offices. He would jump down. He liked to run. He was an ex-lacrosse player, and he liked to run with me, but we would converse. And I was like, I think I want to finish with one team, stay right here for the last 4 years, and be done with it. Well, the new general manager came in, sent us packing, a bunch of us, not just me, about 5 of us, and wished me well in the twilight of my career. And in twilight went another 11 years or something. I don't know how long it was, but I'm so thankful for it, because I got to play for 2 of the most historic teams with the Red Sox and the Yankees. Had 2 wonderful years in Toronto. Shut it down. I shut it down with the Yankees. Thought I was done after the World Series in 2003. And the next thing you know, I got a boatload of people outside the gate here in Houston want me to come play for the hometown team. And I'm just so glad that I was able to, my body was able to do that, because I think I had 3 of my best years at my advanced age, getting a pitch here at home and then getting to the World Series and playing with Baggy and Bidge and all the guys. Watching Roy Oswalt go out there. Roy was he was fantastic, electric stuff almost every other night to watch Roy. And it was fun for me because, as you know, I went to high school here, and during a strike, I think it was 79, 80 or something, there was some kind of work stoppage. I'm out at my high school at Spring Woods working out, and I see 3 dudes get out of their cars, and I'm like, man, I kind of recognize 2 of them for sure. And it ended up being Jose Cruz Jr., Terry Poole, and Vern Rule. And they're working out at my high school, and I'm like, this is crazy. So that was fun for me to watch those guys at a time where I was sneaking into the Astrodome to watch Nolan Ryan pitch. So that was all cool stuff.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, I think you might have, retired 3-4 times. And
anybody can do it once. Yeah, I kept trying.
But coming back, I mean, and of course I think back and, I don't know, 2005, such a great year, so many great memories from that season. You coming off,
Awesome.
I think coming off your couch. I mean, it was such a, I don't know, just a great time, a great season. And I think so much of that excitement was you being there and Andy Pettitte being there. And, unfortunately the team fell just short, but I don't know, do those memories hold as dear to you? And I guess knowing how much that season meant to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. We had, like you just mentioned, we had some unbelievable guys. And when I had to obviously play with Andy in New York, have the opportunity to come home, him being a hometown guy and us getting after it together, we know each other, how we work on the mounds and how you root for one another, do so well. And, but it was just a joy. Andy's a professional. Lance Bergman, Jeff Kent, it goes on Morgan Insberg, Adam Everett, Willie Tavares. I love Willie in center field. I always tease him. I said he was always worried about his average and that he wouldn't hit. And I said, Willie, I'm starting 35 times, 35 times this year. You're not getting released. You're not going anywhere. You'll be in center field on every one of my starts if I have any say in it. Because if we always said that if a ball stayed, I'm pretty much a fly ball pitcher. And if a baseball stayed in the air off the bat more than 3 seconds, it should be caught. And Willie, he was airtight out there. I said, it's just too nice having him out there at my age. I'm 43, 44, whatever I was. And those guys, that was a special team, just watching those guys work. And somebody stepped up every night for us. And really those few years there, and the crowd support that we had, the fan support from the fans was incredible. Every night we were packed. And it was just I think we turned a little bit of a football town to a baseball town for a good 3 years. It was happening. And so really cool stuff to be going on in our city.
Yeah, you name all those guys, and with the exception, I'm not calling him out or anything, but Jeff Kent, he was not always as nice as all the rest. Not to us anyway. I don't know how he was in the clubhouse, but that was one of.
Let me tell you what about a bear that you don't touch a bear when he's sleeping. Jeff had a great routine. It was fun to watch him get ready. He was a true pro. He would go in and just I told the guys, I don't think he's sleeping. I just think he's closing his eyes like for 15 minutes to really focus and get ready to go. And but yeah, he would just sit down and shut his mind down for a minute and get out there and go. He had what I encourage everybody to do is you've got to have a great routine that that works for you and sticks for you. I can't tell you how many big leaguers I played for that were just kind of all over the map. They never had something that they could count on. They were maybe overly superstitious. And Jeff would do that. Yeah, he was like, you don't want to poke a bear sometimes when he's not into it.
No, not too many players ever scared me, but he scared me. So the difference between routine and superstition, what was yours? What was your routine or your superstitions back then?
So on the day I pitched, I like to eat about 1:30, 2 o'clock, something light, usually pasta or something like that I could burn, pasta and chicken. So I had a pretty good routine with that. And the reason I say it is because I would watch guys an hour before a game, a starting pitcher, just absolutely house a double cheeseburger or something like that, or a huge meal and a huge salad, and then try and go out on a hot day, kick your leg up in front of you 115 times. There's no way you could feel your body could feel good doing that. But yeah, so I'd eat about 2 o'clock and then get down to the stadium. A lot of the guys like to go down early. I like to get down there about an hour and a half to 2 hours before. So when I get to the stadium, I'm going right through my routine. And then always about the fourth inning, I would knock down 2 bananas and some kind of fluid to keep me going throughout that. And then I would eat something light after the game. I wasn't a big eater after the game, especially as I got past 30 years old. But I had a great routine that I stuck with, and that worked. I got to play in the Bob Hope tournament out in Palm Springs with Yogi Berra. So you talking about all the cliches and superstitions. So I always teased him that one of my lines, I tell people I'm not superstitious. I think they're all bad luck. And that was my Yogiism. So there you have it. Get in here. Here comes one of the minor league guys. Put your shirt on. You're not that big. Get in here. Lean in on this video chat.
Yeah, we want to see. Which one is it?
This is Cody. This is the Detroit Tiger. This was College Player of the Year not too long ago, and he actually had a great spring training. He had a bunch of at-bats in spring training. Was getting on. Put this in there and lean in here. Say hi to Patty. We're doing a little thing for Houston, trying to keep people sane. Can you see?
What's up, Cody?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How are you faring in this being locked in with the big guy here?
We're going crazy in here. All of us are all cooped up in here, getting bored, but we're staying safe, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So are you able to get obviously you got the cage back there, which hopefully we're going to see a little bit, but you're getting your workouts in and how, what's it like? Obviously you're talking to your other teammates and stuff, just having this downtime as players, both mentally and physically.
Yeah. I've been talking to some of my buddies, and there's some of my teammates that don't have like a cage available or like a weight room available because everything's shut down. So, fortunately, my dad got the hookup out in the backyard. We got a cage, and, Casey, my brother's in pro ball as well. So he's my throwing partner, and the big guy can still throw some BP. So,
oh, yeah.
So,
see, I told you what I tell you.
Yeah,
it's not, hey, Dad, love you. You got
nobody
some gas
cares about
money.
the knowledge. It's just get out there and throw. Give us that.
You got any gas money? Because they don't pay minor leaguers anything anymore. And get out here, get your arm loose. We got to hit.
Yeah, but
that's what I get now.
Yeah, but we just have. We have what we need to stay sharp, and we're just waiting on that phone call. I know something came out on the news either last night or this morning. They're thinking about having the games in Arizona for the big leaguers. So hopefully they get everything sorted out and we get the season started.
Well, all kidding aside, and I won't hold you up too long, and I know you're attached to him right now via cord, so you can't go too far. But, seriously, to have a guy like that with, look at the love, with the arm around him.
He must need something.
24 years of, being in the big leagues, all the accolades that we just shot off with the Cy Youngs, the strikeouts. Clearly, one of the best to ever take the mound. What does that mean to you, not only as a son, but as an aspiring Major League Baseball player?
Yeah, it's amazing to have someone that underneath your household to tell you all the pointers that he's learned throughout his career. We always talk about it as brothers. Luckily, none of us are pitchers, so they can't compare us to, everything that he did. But, he knows everything from the pitching aspect, obviously, but he also knows the hitting aspect just for the fact that he's faced so many, big league, amazing hitters. And so every question that we have, going through the minor leagues or any type of question that we need answered, he's got all the answers. So it's awesome to have him, especially as a dad. So we're just, he's here if we need him. They're getting to see all the old reruns when Dad was about 205, and they're getting to see all the replays since the downtime. They're playing a lot of ex-World Series games, so you're getting to see some of that stuff. But they get on the intercom, and I hear them, Dad, turn on channel 2, whatever, and turn on the –
yeah, they're saying
all
something.
the old classic baseball games.
Classics, old classics, yeah.
Punching out 20 like it's nothing.
Just so you know, Roger, I've got my daughters convinced that I have all the answers as well. So,
there you go. Yeah, I agree.
Before we let you go, while I've got you hostage here, just spill the beans on this guy a little bit. Tell us one thing that we don't know about him or embarrass him a little bit while we've got the audience.
Great singer.
Oh, no. He in the background, he's in a little midlife crisis. He has he likes doing a little DJing. He's got his own setup with a bunch of Bose speakers, and he calls himself DJ No Request. And so late at night, whenever we have family friends over, or have like a Christmas party or whatever,
I told Patty she needs to come see the setup.
He goes out there and sets up all the microphones, and he will play his music, and we'll have a great time out there. But also,
then who takes over?
Oh, we'll take
because
over.
I need to get current. You said they don't like my '70s music.
No, there's some great '70s music, but the crowd is a little younger now out there, so you got to get it the right way. But also, everybody saw him pitching and being super intimidating on the mound and everything like that. But underneath the house, he's a big teddy bear and just a goofball, and that's what the side no one sees from him. So he's just hilarious, and we love it.
Yep. Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate you stopping in.
Beat it.
All right, beat it.
Thank you so much.
Go be somebody, and take a shower.
Damn, sweat.
Yeah, I
Okay, well,
did.
there you go.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember where we were, but looking back, when you look at a kid like that, and all right, time to get him back in. How do you see the players or the game? How has it changed over the past 25, 30 years?
Oh, it's changed. I mean, it's changed for me as far as watching the pictures. I mean, even reliving some of the old games that they're playing now. The boys will drag me in the family room to watch a few of the innings, and we always, for me, really since I was 22 to 40, when I started the game, I wanted to complete it. And I know obviously the dollars and how you're trying to protect your arms and the mechanics. I think the mechanics are so important with these pitchers, where I tell these kids to try and help these kids out with their little bit of their shoulder tilt coming out and not coming set, level shoulders. There's just some technical stuff that's really easy stuff to help some of these young kids to protect their arms. So everybody, like, I don't know what it was, a month and a half, 2 months ago, for all this craziness broke out, I went over to Birmingham to give Dr. Andrews a Lifetime Achievement Award. And it was telling. I mean, Doc has said a number of times, I've heard him say it, that he is doing more Tommy Johns on young kids than he's ever had in his life. And I think that's why we developed the elbow program and the shoulder program, which I still do my 3 or 5 pound weights to this day. Every day I wake up, so I have my flexibility. Atrophy doesn't set in. I take them with me when I go play in these golf tournaments. I like to warm up about 20 minutes with my shoulder work. And it's just so important for these guys. But again, I think, you're watching these guys get to the 5th or 6th inning, and they're already at 100, 105 pitches. And they can be stressful innings. So I just don't know if you're going to see a lot of complete games anymore, just for the fact that you have so much invested in these pitchers over time. And the other thing that probably have changed, Patty, is that there's different philosophies for different teams. I go into I like to sit in on their hitting sessions, and one team wants these guys making their outs in the air. So they want them just trying to crank the ball, get the ball in the air, try and hit the ball out of the stadium. They don't care how much they strike out. 2 other teams I visit with 2 strikes, they want their guys on the plate, choking up, putting the ball in play. So you just got to see, you just got to understand the philosophy of the ball club that you're playing in. Same thing I tell the boys, I can give them, I remember when Casey out of high school was a freshman, and he signed to go play at the University of Texas as a freshman. And I told Casey, I gave him my little Newt Rockney speech on the way out the door to Austin. And I said, all right, you're a freshman. You're carrying the name well. The name's big up in Austin, obviously, there at the baseball side of things. So you're a freshman. Be the good soldier. Pay attention. Learn. Listen to what – he's playing for the all-time winningest coach at the time, Augie Garrido. And I said, listen to what Augie says. He has some life lessons. It'll be good for you as a person, as a man, on and off the field. But get in line and follow those juniors and senior players and pay attention to detail. You got it, Dad. Goes up there. He's in Austin. They're doing workouts. He calls me about 10 days later. He goes, Dad, you got a minute? I go, yeah. He goes, that little pump-up speech you gave me about being a good freshman and everything? It's out the window. Augie Garrido just called us all in the office, about 4 of us stud freshmen that are probably going to start. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to be your own man. I want you to do your things. You guys have great work ethics. Don't follow the juniors or seniors. They're losers. They don't know how to win. I go, well, there goes my speech from here out. So I'm done.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
take us back to your time at UT. I mean, obviously, you had a chance to go to the Mets early on, decided to go to school to UT.
Yeah.
A decision that probably changed your life. But I mean, UT, look, you're a guy that drives a burnt orange Hummer. I don't know if you still have it or not, but you did at one time.
Yeah.
I know Coach Gustafson, very important to you. Just, tell us about the ties and how UT your heart is burnt orange, I know.
Yes, absolutely. That was a big time, a big, path. I won't say path changing, but part of my path on my way to having the opportunity to play in the major leagues. So, I just had, when I do these interviews, Patty, and you bring up the coaches, I got to give props to all of them. My high school coach, Charlie Mariano. Charlie could have probably taken any major college program job in the country, but his wife had a disease where he had to stay close here to the Houston hospitals, which are the best in the nation. He was like a father figure to me. I obviously lost my father when I was young. He became that father figure, and I tell him he was a great coach, but he was a better teacher. Then a little intimidated by going to the University of Texas, so I decided to opt and go to San Jacinto Junior College down the road here, about 40 minutes. And I was lucky enough to play for a coach who left high school and took that job, his first college job. And that gentleman's name was Coach Wayne Graham, who everybody knows what he did at Rice University. He got the Rice baseball program to heights that nobody else has gotten it to. And so I got to play for Coach Graham, a lifer baseball guy. I love Coach Graham. He's again, another great coach, but a better teacher. And then he told me after 1 year there, and I got drafted, that, look, you can't do anything else in junior college. You need to go to the next level somewhere. And that's when Coach Gus started calling to give me another opportunity to play at the University of Texas. So I jumped on it. I grew a couple inches, got more mature. I graduated at 17 years old out of high school. So the time I was at the University of Texas, it wasn't as big, or feel for, the magnitude of it wasn't as daunting to me. So I get to go play for Coach Gus, who at that time was the winningest coach in college baseball history. And we go back-to-back years to the College World Series. I lost to Miami 2-1 my sophomore year, and then I beat Alabama my junior year and got drafted 1 by the Red Sox. So it was just it was life-changing, life-altering for me. And again, it was great for the family, and the rest is history, as they say. But I had 3 wonderful coaches. But what I tell people, they were better teachers of not only the game of baseball, but stuff that happened that happens off the field.
And you mentioned it earlier, the 4 teams that you played for, of course, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Astros, and the Blue Jays. What do you consider yourself?
I consider myself a great major leaguer. I mean, I enjoyed playing a game that I loved. I got to do it till I was 45, I think 46. I tried to retire again, like you said, and then my phone rings, and then I'm in the garage, and it's Joe Torre and Brian Cashman want me to come back and play for the Yankees. And I wouldn't have done that just out of just straight out respect that I have for Brian Cashman and what he meant to the Yankees. I loved playing for George Steinbrenner. I would get a smile on my face when he would be upset, and he'd come down. And I remember before one big game, I think it was a World Series game, and he walked through the door, came straight to my locker. I was just about done tying my cleats to go warm up, and he's like, "I brought you here for a reason." I said, "I got you, boss. I understand, but it was straight like out of a movie, deal. You got Joe Torre walking up to you. We almost called Joe the Godfather, and he's kissing you on one cheek and not the other because you don't want to be a made man. And he's telling me, I need you tonight. So I said, I got you, Skip. So those are great memories. I need to write it down before I forget them all. But I wouldn't trade any of the 4 teams I played for. The reason I ended up in Toronto instead of going straight to New York from Boston was because Mr. Beeston, the principal owner of the Blue Jays, flew here to Houston, sat here in this exact office on a chair right here in front of me, and was telling me how he was going to get the Blue Jays back to their winning ways, like when they won the World Series in 91 and 92. And we had a fantastic ball club, a lot of young, great players. And but again, to come home and pitch in the National League and have the opportunity to meet these guys here and see what they do on a daily basis was a great deal of fun too.
Was there anything you do different?
I don't think I would do anything different. I mean, I think that I think it was my upbringing. I got my work ethics from my mother and my grandmother, watching how hard they worked. There were times where I felt like instead of being like, when they talk about Tom Brady putting all the hours in the video room and studying it, I had hitters and umpires on 3x5 index cards. Then after a few years of that, it went to when the Blackberries came out. I could punch them in my Blackberry and keep notes on guys. And then it went to your iPhone, and I would be in pitchers meetings where I'd have to tell my pitching coach, look, I'm not texting somebody. I'm actually, I'm logging different hitters that our scouts are telling me that we're playing. So I tried to keep all my information gathered, but I was always like that. I was always I loved keeping notes on different guys that I faced to get that. So if there's anything that I would have done maybe different, but I think Cody alluded to it. When I wasn't pitching, I was able to look around and smell the flowers a little bit and not be such a grind. But it was a grind for me because I was taught that way. That's my job. You do it to the fullest. You wear the city that you play for proud on your chest. You have people upstairs that are paying you great money to do this job. I have teammates counting on me to put on a show every time I go to the mound. The reason why I say that, because I can't tell you how many catchers that I had, fantastic catchers over the years, that I would hear them make that comment. I never even thought about it that way, but they're like, you don't understand. The other guys that were pitching, when Rocket went to the mound, it was a show. It was an event. And then so I really loved hearing that from my teammates because I felt like they were enjoying it. They were paying attention to detail. And that's what I asked my catchers. When people talk about, your teammates or you did this, we didn't do this. I had some fantastic teammates over the years that made me shine. I had some great catchers that had to pay attention to detail because I had some complex signs and I was calling 90% of my game from the mound. So there was a lot going on there that I would have to sit here and go online and look at over the 24 years, all the teammates I had to send out thank you notes because they're the reasons why, this kid that was just okay, the third best pitcher on his high school team, ended up doing really, really well and playing a game that he loved for 24 years.
Where did Rocket come from?
Rocket came from Bruce Hurst, my teammate, left-handed pitcher Bruce Hurst with the Red Sox the night after I struck out 20 Seattle Mariners. He also said that he was going to rent a bus to put all the pitchers on it to go down and see this guy named James Andrews since, 6 months to the day that he took an impingement out of my shoulder, which he said could have been from me leading all the time when I was a defensive end in high school. And he said he was going to load the bus up with pitchers. They're going to go see this guy.
So obviously you like to tell stories. You are a great storyteller. There's two that I know that I want you to tell. One of them involves Don Drysdale.
Yeah, so Don Drysdale, you're talking about a 6'3" giant of a man. I'm 22, 23 years old, whatever it was, in Winter Haven, Florida with the Red Sox in spring training. We're playing the Dodgers. They came up from Dodger Town. And Don Drysdale was doing a radio show, I believe, on the side for the Dodgers. And our public relations gentleman came in after I threw my 3 innings. He said, hey, after you do the media, there's some one-on-ones they want to do. And one of them we want you to do is Don Drysdale. And he goes, you know who Don Drysdale is? I go, yeah, no, I've heard of Don. I didn't know him, but I've heard of Don Drysdale. I heard he was a great pitcher, but I've never met him. I didn't know how big this man was, how big a booming voice. So I got done with all the media and I popped out. They had 2 chairs set up inside our batting cages to keep people away from us and so we could do our one-on-one interview. And I walked around the corner and I saw this giant of a man, and he was basically looking me eye to eye. And, he looked at me and said, Roger, Don Drysdale, I appreciate you doing I want you to do my radio show. Real soft-speaking, gentle giant. And we do about a 20-minute radio interview, and he's asking me just wonderful questions, real, again, soft-spoken. Turns his microphone on, and he leans into me, and he goes, kid, he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, I've watched you pitch. He goes, you got a chance in this league to be somebody. He goes, but let me just tell you something. He goes, you know what my best damn pitch of the game was, son? And now I'm starting to get a little edgy and not shaking in my boots, but I'm getting a little edgy because he's right in my face. And I go, no, sir, I do not, Mr. Drysdale. And he goes, it was my second knockdown pitch. You know why, son? I go, no, sir, I don't. He goes, because that way the hitter knew the first one wasn't a damn mistake. I go, yes, sir, Mr. Drysdale. I ran out of there. So I learned real quick that the big Don, he was one of those guys that when they said, if you hit one of my guys, I'm going to hit 2 of yours in the old school days, I could see him doing that.
So before I get to my second story, that brings me to a question that Gray, who I work with, who's our engineer on this interview right here, he wanted me to ask you about Piazza.
Yeah. About pizza. I love pizza. I love it. I really love pizza. No, the Piazza thing got all kinds of legs on that deal. So there was some stuff that went on the week before the series, and we were into it. And I think the backstory to it, my arm was killing me, and I think the scout said I was sitting at 91, 92 miles an hour. And then Mike got in there, who obviously is a great hitter. He's hit every breaking ball or split I've thrown to him. So, and we had a meeting earlier, and the scouts and our pitching coach said, we're going to pitch him in, and we're going to pitch him in. And I said, well, I'm going with hard stuff because he's hit everything soft that I've thrown. And so I think when he stepped in the box, my first 3 pitches to him were 97, 98, and 98. That's how pumped up I was. And that kind of, it jumps me to a quick story about Reggie Jackson. Reggie always used to get on me. We've become friends and golfing friends. Reggie Jackson would always say, when he was with the California Angels, he goes, you would sit at 92, 93, 94. And then when I would step in the plate, it was 98, 98, 98. And I said, well, you're Reggie Jackson. I mean, come on. I wanted to get to the big leagues to face you. So, and of course, Reggie loves that story. So the same with Mike Piazza. Mike got in there, such a great hitter he is. So I dial it up, and I shatter his bat in about 4 pieces. Well, as you can see, I break it down like I'm going to field a ground ball because I see this bat. What I didn't know at the time was a bat. I thought the ball was coming back at me. But within an instant, I knew it's his bat. It took 2 hops, came right up into my lap perfectly. And with my perfect pitching form, I crow hop it and throw it to the on-deck circle. But he claimed that he didn't know where the ball was in fair or foul play. So he'd start jogging. I think the TVs made it look like it was almost off his shoe tops, but it was a good distance away from him. I tell people if I wanted to hit him with it, I'd have hit him with it. And but then we went through the whole mess, and I basically told him, let's give me a ball so we can get this at bat over with and get back to playing the World Series like it was. So, but it got good life over the TV and the media and stuff like that. So I don't think it was as dramatic as a Ventura running to the mound and Nolan having to beat him up or anything like that. There's been some little worse brawls or incidents than that.
Yeah, that was a good one though. Okay, and the other one was Doc Gooden. You're at the plate, and you've got Bruce Fremming has a few words for you when you're facing Doc Gooden.
Yeah, there's 2 backstories to that. What happened was, as you alluded to earlier, I got drafted by the Mets after my year at San Jacinto. I was draft eligible, and I decided not to sign it. Everybody talked about how Doc Gooden and I would have been on the same staff. So I get to go to my first I have a great year in 86, off to a great start, strike out to 20 and do all that. And then I get awarded to start the game in the Astrodome as a Red Sox. And I'm going to face Dwight Gooden with the Mets. And we're in the Astrodome the night before for the workout. We have the big press conference. And after the press conference, we're walking off the side of the stage. And Doc looked at me, and I forgot that I had to hit. I haven't hit since high school probably. And we're in the National League in the Dome. And so Doc looked at me and said, Rock, straight up. I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? And he goes, straight up tomorrow, right? I go, I have no idea what you're talking about, Doc. He goes, we may face each other, depending if we go 2 innings or something against, because we're both starting. So if we face each other straight up fastballs. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. He threw hard, and I threw hard. I could care less. But I knew that I didn't know how many at-bats he had, and he got to hit a lot. I ain't touched a piece of wood in I don't know how long. So we get to game time, and we're getting after it. And let's see, in front of me, I was hitting 9th, Lou Whitaker 8th, Dave Winfield. Winfield hits a double in the second, maybe the top of the 3rd. I think Winfield hits a double. Lou Whitaker comes out and hits I think a curveball out of the ballpark to put us up 2-0. Now I'm coming to the plate, and I'm like, okay, and I'm kind of remembering, okay, straight up, so I'm going to get these fastballs, right? Well, Doc Gooden winds up and throws one. And I swear it had to be 2 or 3 balls off the outside corner of the plate. And, I mean, it looked like it was across the room, and it was about 97, 98 miles an hour. And, I mean, you could hear it. It sounded like bacon in a frying pan coming in there. It was sizzling. And it hit in front of me, strike one. And I look at him. I was like, seriously? And he goes, the whole ball was on the plate. I said, that wasn't like outside? He goes, no, that whole ball was on the plate. I said, I throw that hard? And he goes, yeah, you throw that hard. I go, okay, this is going to be good. I haven't stood in a batter's box in who knows how long. So next one stands in there, and I think I swung and missed or something like that. And I said, man, I've really got to get my bat started early if I'm going to make any contact off this dude. So he had 2 strikes on me, and his next pitch, I'm not kidding you, he let the ball go, and it was headed right for my ear on my helmet, right at my head. And I kind of stayed there a little bit, but I buckled like I'm on a roller coaster ride, and it was a curveball, and it snapped right over the plate for strike 3. And Gooden put his head down, walked straight off the mound, wouldn't look at me. I'm staring at him because obviously we were supposed to throw all fastballs to one another. So I was a little pissed. So I get my glove and go back out there, and I whistle through the first 2 guys, and I'm just get the ball around the infield, and I can't wait because it's the 9th hole. And here comes Doc, and I'm gonna throw a curveball right at him after I get a strike on him, maybe 2 of them just to get him back. And I hear the PA announcer, now batting, pinch hitting for Dwight Gooden. I go, oh, my gosh, I'm so pissed. So they pinch hit for him, but that's how the first All-Star game, and it was a blast because I got to come home here and sleep in my own bed and pitch in the Astrodome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all kinds of great stories, and we could sit here and talk about these forever, but, clearly an incredible career. I mean, a Hall of Fame career, yet the Hall of Fame eludes you at this point. I want to say Hall of Fame yet. Just your thoughts on that yet word.
Well, yeah, hopefully, like I said, the guys are starting to, I tell the guys that vote for me, and really it's a situation where you have zero control of. So the guys that I get phone calls about that time of year. Right now, Patty, it kind of comes and goes. It's kind of old news for us. It's as crazy as to me as even this past year where one guy didn't vote for Derek Jeter. I mean, I don't know how you sit down and not check your box for Derek Jeter. He was the best of the best. I mean, I had him as a teammate. So I hope it happens. It'd be great if it does. It's not going to change me as a person. It's not going to, again, I would have to, like you said, there's so many teammates that you'd have to thank. For me, it's kind of a beat your chest, kind of a selfish deal to get in type deal that there's not enough time in the day that I would have to thank all of my teammates and especially all the catchers I've had if and when it happens. But again, it's not going to change me as a person. I didn't play Major League Baseball to make the Hall of Fame. It would be wonderful, whatever it means to people on the outside or that surround me. But I did it the right way. I played hard. I played the game right. And I appreciate the writers who are voting for me that look at the facts and everything that we had to go through, not as me as an individual, but family and close friends and everybody else, especially in this town, that know me as a person. So that's really all you can say about it. I mean, it's the same kind of, like I said, the date kind of comes and goes. I think it affects my brothers and sisters, maybe family more than it does me, because once the first time went through and went about and everybody was making their comments, that really a lot of asinine comments and people that didn't know or didn't care to pay attention to any facts at all. Of course, we went through it. We went through it all. We went through the Jerry Springer show up in Washington and all that. It was just comical at times, even though there was things I wanted to say that they said, no, don't say that. Don't do this. Don't do that. So you listen to people's advice, even though now you look back and it probably wasn't the right advice, and the things that I wanted to say to some of these people that are making comments. So you take the high road, and that's pretty much what I did on all that situation. And but yeah, who knows? It may still happen. If it doesn't, it's not going to change me either way.
Is there anything that you didn't say then that you want to say now?
No, I said it. I pretty much said it. It was like, other than when you get gavelled down by his best buddy up there, dangling his feet off a couple sets of phone book, that he's up there just running the show. I was prepped for it pretty much. And they told me to be heads up because they're going to try and trick you. And that's exactly what they did. It was, and I like Jerry Springer. It's a good show to watch.
All right. Well, I want to see, I know you've got a lot going on there at the house. You got the kids out there working. Take us on a little tour of your cages and show us a little bit about the stuff you do there.
Well, let's see if the internet, hold on a second. Let's see if the internet will
hold up.
If it'll hold up. So let me see if you guys can see this. I don't know if it's too dark. There's some good stuff back here. Let's see if yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's all good.
There's an old shot of, can you see Nolan? There's one for
me. It's me and Nolan.
Oh, is it? It's
my
shining
reflection.
on you? Your reflection? So there's there's Muhammad. I got some really cool stuff over the years that guys, most of the time I never ask guys for autographs, but if they ask me for something, I would always try and tell them to send me some good stuff. I don't know if you can see that. That's a cool thing for Mr. Brady.
So what's in that room? What's your most prized possession in that room?
Oh, man. Probably, let's see if I can get it right there. See that Silver Slugger Award?
Yep.
Right there. Yeah. I run that. I kind of rag at the boys on that. So there's all kinds of fun stuff in here.
Very
that
cool.
We're going to be doing. Yeah. There's the king. You always got to have Elvis.
Wow.
Elvis and Johnny Cash. You got to have those two guys.
It's a must.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got all kinds of stuff. Let me see if I can sneak you out the back here.
All right. This is like an episode of Cribs. I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Roger.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. We're taking them on a little.
All right.
We're still live. Say hi.
There's Debbie.
We're going to demo. Yep. And she's really bored if she's doing needlepoint again. All right. So we're out back. I don't know if I'm steady hand or not. Do we still have we cut off yet?
It's going in and out, but we still got you.
Here. So this is the dome. So we got almost three different mounds that the guys can work from. I don't know if you guys can see that at home.
Yep.
Okay. That's a real cool little mural a guy did at Children's Hospital.
Point it up a little bit, up a higher.
Okay.
There you go.
That better? Oh, there you go. And so, so that's cool. And then here's our guy, and we got this system here where the guys can track their velocity. You know, we're getting so much into the stages of your exit velocity and things like that. Let me take a look, make sure. Yeah, you guys can see it all right. There we go. So we can get it done. They get it done. They've got their stuff right here that these guys can come by and get their work in. And so we're usually out here about 5:45 in the morning is kind of where even when I was with the Astros, this is where it kind of started for me every morning, and to try and stay ready to go.
Not a bad place to be quarantined.
Right. So they can get it done, and then if there's only a handful of dudes over here, they can make it happen. So.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can manage this. I mean, you've gone above and beyond impressing me with your video skills here for someone who didn't know how to work the Zoom. But, look, there's a lot of kids at home right now, high school players, college players whose seasons are ending, younger kids that aren't out there playing Little League. Look, if you can give them something to work on, a tip, a pitch, whatever, something that kids can work on while they've got this time at home. Can you help us out?
Yeah, so I would encourage most of the kids that are out now that are doing the work right now. As far as pitching, you have to be playing some type of long toss. You have to be doing your core work, and you have to be doing your shoulder or your cuff work. And I think those are the three most important things that you need to be doing right now. In between, especially. I mean, they shut the high school down. They shut the college guys down. Those guys are over here doing that work. But again, you got to throw your cardio. You just got to have a great routine, stick with it. The mechanics part of it, it's just something that you got to do hands-on. I really need to get some type of video out there. The boys have been on me hard about doing some type of video. And with something that we're doing like right now, that would be a great way to do it, to bring it to a lot of the kids. I get a lot of questions at my foundation, a lot of letters from single moms that have a 12-year-old and she knows nothing about baseball. So we try and help them out that way, and try and give them a few tips that way. But I mean, it starts over here. I'll have just 3 or 4 days ago, there were 2 college guys here, right-handers, and we just fixed their grip on the baseball. Their grip wasn't even taught properly. And you could see instant results within about 10 to 12 pitches, and they leave here with a smile on their face and feeling like they're somebody. So that's the joy I get out of it. When you can just give them a hot tipper here. I think there's a lot of these places around there doing lessons around town. They're too technical, they're too involved, or they try and change the kid too much. He'll come in there and say, this other guy was telling me I need to do this, 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 and this. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. So we just fix we close your shoulder up. We get your height feeling good again, so guys aren't crunched over so much when they're pitching the ball. And there's just some hot tips that we do, Patty, that are really great. That again, when we can help the guys, or my oldest son, Kobe's doing a lot of lessons now over here, from 7-year-olds to minor league guys. And he'll, if I'm here, which obviously we've been here quite a bit over what's going on, he'll take, Dad, get out here and watch this guy. And so we'll come out and clean their edges up a little bit, and they leave here happy, and their parents are happy, and it makes them feel good about themselves.
All right. Well, maybe this next, our next project together is this new video series.
Yeah, we need to do that.
All right. Well, Roger, we have loved it. Thank you for, letting us invade your house, your time, and I'm sure I'll be able to find you out on a golf course somewhere.
We'll see you. Thanks for asking, Patty. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. See ya.
All right, great stuff from the Rocket. Now, for those of you who have been eagerly awaiting to see if your videos made the show, it's time now for Gaming Together from the Houston Outlaws. That's right, in partnership with the Outlaws, we've turned social distancing into a positive and are encouraging everyone to take a moment out of this pandemic to be thankful for what we do have. While you're at home with your family, your roommates, your grandparents, your pets, whoever, let's all inject a little laughter and fun back into our lives with some old-fashioned competition. Whether it's video games, board games, card games, just free up a few moments in your day to play. Spend time with those you love, laughing, reconnecting, appreciating, and capture it on video for us. Here's a look at this week's favorites.
Flying. Zebra.
Warthog.
Pizza. Pizza.
It's a circle and it's neat.
A circle and a what?
It's not pizza? It's a circle. Okay? It's that. Okay. It's neat.
It's neat?
Yeah, in a circle. Okay. It's flying. Oh, a meatball.
Oh, flying meatball. Okay, a flying
Just
meatball.
hit my face.
Just hit your face.
Yes!
Nice.
Well, I could have sworn that little girl was saying pizza. Anyway, send us your videos. I know you're all out there having fun and we want to see it. Just upload your 30-second video to outlaws.gg/gaming together and show us how much fun you and your family or friends are having. Hashtag gaming together, and maybe you'll be seen right here on next week on Queued Up. And for those of you that wish to go the extra mile, we'll be accepting donations to Texans Children's Hospital as part of the Children's Miracle Network and our efforts to combat COVID-19. All right, be sure to tune in tomorrow morning to Sports Radio 610. Payne and Pendergast will air clips of this Roger Clemens interview and recap it all. In the meantime, stay home, stay safe, stop the spread. We'll see you next time.